gonna be the cold open. Is nobody cries?
That's gonna be the cold open. Is referencing the cold open.
Exactly.
My name is Mira Costello. This is my 5th year at IUSB. I'm old. I am the editor-in-chief. I've been editor-in-chief for 3 years, and before that I was a co-editor, and then before that I was a reporter. And my major is communications with concentration in journalism.
Hi, my name is Bergeron. I'm a staff writer, ex-social media manager. This is my 5th year at IUSB, 4th year at the Preface. My major is biology, and I minor in chemistry.
My name is Emmalee Anglemyer. I have been at IUSB for the 4 years. I am a graphic design major with a minor in art history, and at the Preface, I've been here for 2 years. I started out just wanting to be a cartoonist, but then I took over layout for the paper, and I've been laying out the paper for years, a year and a half-ish.
So I had done a student newspaper in high school. I actually went to a high school that had not just student publications, but a journalism program. So I was able to take classes and go to student journalism conferences, and that really got me interested in journalism as a field. But I actually didn't start out college majoring in journalism. I was a social work major until I realized that this is not only what I love, but I'm good at it, and I should just do it. Yeah, my first ever day on campus at the Welcome Back Fair my freshman year, I ran into Ashley Rose, who's a Preface alum. We'd been following each other on Instagram, and she was like, "Oh, I'm on my way to the Preface meeting. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Yes, I do!" And I walked in the room, there were 5 people, and the staff was so small at that point, they were all looking at me. And I started, trying to explain, what I could do and why I was, worthy of working there. And Ken, the advisor at the time, went, "Can you write? You're hired." And because they were so short on people, so it kind of all just really fell into place. So literally since day one, I've been writing for the Preface. So
I would get kind of doom scrolling for negative news and stuff like that. And there's always positive news, people who try to bring positivity. But I wanted to just bring awareness to events or issues. Which is kind of why you can kind of see when you look at all the things I write, I usually tend to go to politics and also animals. But I just wanted it to be here's something that's going on and here are things you can do with this new information that you got.
I found out about the Preface by chance. I saw the stands on campus forever, and I did nothing about it. And then a couple of times I picked up the paper because I found out that they had an event calendar at the back, and I wanted to get more involved with my campus community. And so I was looking at the events calendar, and I happened upon the "Hey, we're hiring" bulletin board thing that they would sometimes put in. I now know that was usually to fill space. But I looked at that and I was like, oh, they hire cartoonists. I have always wanted to be able to do cartooning as a job. But I started out in 2024, went to the intro meeting, and everybody was kind of assumed to be staff writers, and so I went up to Mira and I was like, can I pretty please? Please? May I please draw cartoons, please? And she said, okay.
I was like, yeah,
all right, pal. Okay, go ahead. And then a couple of issues in, Danielle Lingle, who was the layout editor at the time, she approached me and she was like, "You're a graphic design major. Will you please take over? Do you want to take over? I have nobody to take over, please God." And so it was fortuitous that I had done page layout at the time, and she was like, "You're in. You're good. Learn InDesign." I was like, okay. And now I lay out the Preface.
Okay.
There are so many. I was actually going through yesterday and getting a copy of every preface I've ever worked on, which was an emotional time. It's 100 papers. Countless articles. There's a couple that stand out. I got to interview the mayor of South Bend. Never expected to be able to do that. That was, me and Raphael went to his office and we had this really cool video and everything. So that was just kind of a surreal experience. I've also done some really cool protest coverage with some other staff members. We went down to Indianapolis. Obviously the Ice Out issue, everybody on staff, I think, is just really happy with how that turned out. And I've just heard so many positive things from faculty and staff about how it really affected them, and just that it really made their students feel supported and that they were happy to see that we were doing something, like what we could about it. So the Ice Out issue, and there have just been a couple like reporting things that I found really fun. I think my sophomore, junior year, there was this controversy with the Chi Alpha Christian Ministry where they had a karaoke night in the community building and wouldn't allow someone to sing I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry. So that was a really interesting story. I interviewed lots of different people in the group. I interviewed the person they didn't allow to sing and other people who were at the event. So there have been a handful like that as well of just really interesting reporting that kind of naturally came up on campus. I love any story where like I can do lots of interviews and put together like a really great piece of reporting. So.
My favorite thing I have done is anything with the Indiana Dinosaur Museum. My first article I ever done, the lady told me that people in Indianapolis use it as a source, which is crazy to me to think that anything I've been used as a source to like actual like professionals. And then my second article, I got able to take a tour of the place before it opened, which was so cool to like basically have like VIP access to like this new upcoming place. And then being able to like go to the place after it's been open for like a year and to see how it changed from when I first saw it into now, which is also pretty cool as well.
I actually haven't written a whole lot. Whenever I first started, I was on the SGAB up until actually this year, which is the main thing I've written. But as far as writing, I want to say that my favorite event to cover that I've covered for the last couple of years was the Malawi Matters Party with a Purpose. I just think that event is so cool. Ever since I heard about it, I've always gone. I always spend as much time there as I can. I think it's so cool. And for anybody who doesn't know what it is basically they take over Fireside for like usually up to 6 hours, and people are getting together, cutting fabric and writing notes and sewing together reusable pads for women in Malawi. And then also a portion of them go to local women who are struggling with period poverty. And I think that that's just such a cool and worthwhile event. It's so educational. They have speakers come up and talk about the issue. And I always think that it's just one of the coolest things to be a part of. This year I was only really able to take photos because I had classes that went right over it, but I still think it's such a good event. And if you ever get the opportunity, go to it. But my favorite issue I worked on was obviously the ICE issue. I think that it's so important. I hope that the Preface continues talking about things like that. I hope that we continue fighting for people. And I think that visually it turned out really good, and I'm very proud of myself.
There's so many things we've done. The one that pops into my head is the Hear Me Out cake. The first time we did that was so funny. We had this amazing tres leches cake as well, which was just so delicious. But everybody just had a really fun time doing that. I think we also made and exchanged Valentines with each other beforehand because it was for Valentine's Day. So the fun stuff like that is just really special. Obviously Preface Prom, seeing that come to fruition and all the work Sienna put in on that, it was such a fun time last year. I'm really excited for it tomorrow. I would say probably like the most meaningful thing to me is just hearing from faculty basically validating the work that we do, especially after the ICE issue. I got so many emails just saying, thank you for doing this. Like, we see what you're doing, we appreciate it, we are so glad to see that students are still basically fighting for what's right. I had one professor who I had years ago, I think literally my freshman year, I was shocked he even remembered me, but he was, so complimentary of my work individually, but he also said, he compared what we did to the students that protested the Vietnam War, and that was just very special to me because I think it's so easy to feel really hopeless about everything. So to me, journalism is my way of feeling like I'm making some sort of positive difference in the world. So to hear that we are makes everything worth it.
My favorite thing has to be Volunteer Day. It was basically bringing two parts of my world together. The Preface and All for Animals, which is a local rescue that I volunteer at, and getting everybody together to help with the cats, get them to enjoy themselves, and then see two people who went to the event adopt cats from that rescue was so cool. And I'm hoping that before at least the summer ends, we can go to the other rescue I volunteer at.
I also really, really love volunteer days. There's so many things that we do that there's just so much that it's hard to choose a favorite moment. One of them would definitely be adopting my little baby girl, Saki, who has become so much notably less skittish, by the way. She lets my stepdad walk up to her, which is crazy. But another one, so I'm not stealing Ashley's, would be whenever we did the editing symposium. For one, I thought it was so cool. I thought it was really, really cool to get to see the editing process. I thought it was cool to see what Mira puts up with. And I volunteered some of my articles for that, and I got smashed to bits by half the staff because I type with the British spellings and never noticed. And so to this day, Jordan will sometimes message me, bottle of water in it, Tuesday in it, and I'm like, shut up!
I think it would be faster to talk about what I haven't learned at the Preface. I mean, I obviously have become a better journalist. I've become a better editor. I have learned how to develop and maintain relationships with sources like faculty, which have been honestly some of my most meaningful relationships on campus. But I think what I like to say about the title editor-in-chief is that it's like 20% editor, 80% chief. And I think like learning how to be a leader has definitely been the most valuable thing that I'll take away. I think for me, when I joined, the staff culture was not positive. It was a little bit toxic. And so creating a positive staff culture was definitely my priority coming in. And so to know that not only do we have such a positive and supportive environment where like I see so many people have like all kinds of different friend groups and the big friend group in the Preface, but also just like the product we're producing is excellent. So I think like to me just proving that like we can have both. Like we don't have to burn ourselves out and suffer to create something that we love. And so just kind of like harnessing everyone's passion and lifting each other up while also encouraging everybody to challenge each other is just so important, and it's something that I will definitely carry with me into my career in journalism because you can't really learn it in a classroom. I appreciate what I've learned in the classroom, but it could never replace what I've done and learned here.
Something I've learned while working in the Preface is basically how to reach out to people I've never talked to before. I have really bad social anxiety, and obviously working in the Preface didn't magically cure that. I still have it. But for a lot of my articles, like the Indiana Dinosaur Museum, which I mentioned, the ice issue where I reached out to like animal rescues in Minnesota and Los Angeles, and only one of them got back with me, and then reaching out to somebody on social media who I saw had an animal whose owners were detained by ICE, and I wanted to interview her even though that didn't go through. But just being able to be like, hey, can I please interview you? Please. And even though like calls are still very scary to me, at least I know the email parts. I feel very confident in being like, bother. So I definitely gained that skill.
Whenever I came to the Preface, the only experience with InDesign that I had was a singular page layout class. And don't tell Barbara, but I totally messed around during that class. I really did not pay nearly enough attention. I sorely missed a lot of learning in that class. But coming into the Preface, I kind of learned InDesign from the ground up, and it was very helpful to have somebody to teach me, but also a lot of what I learned from trial and error in my living room while binging snacks and watching Grey's Anatomy for 8 hours at a time, so.
Okay.
I would say you just gotta kind of jump in the deep end. I think that part of being a journalist is, and part of succeeding in anything in life is pushing your comfort zone. I think you don't have to be in the fear zone, but go into the growth zone where you're gonna try things you've never done before and fail in front of people. That's something I've learned. Like you have to be able to fail in front of people and be vulnerable and say, I don't know how to do this. I didn't do this as well as I wanted to do it, but I did it. And just kind of trust that everything you do, even if it seems like maybe not the most fun article or whatever, all of it is going to be part of your journey and to make you not only a well-rounded journalist, but a well-rounded person and civically engaged. citizen.
Like if you need help, ask for help. There's a lot of us who would like collab with articles. So if you're like, there's an article that needs to be done that you can do, but it's like in like the growth/fear zone, you can have somebody be basically your little floaty in that zone. So just ask for help, and if you're like formatting questions or like you don't know where to source, or you just need help, I think we have grown like the caring environment that you wanted. I think we've grown that so much that anybody can be like, hey, help, and then somebody will reply. They'll be like, I need help. So I think just asking for help is the best advice I can give.
I think it's kind of beautiful that we're all going to have really similar answers. My advice is to just go for what you love. If you love writing about animals, write about animals. If you love doing comics, or if you love design, or if you love writing stories about politics or music or anything, write it. It is your time to write what you love. Everybody will be supportive of you. And you might find new things that you love just doing what you already love. I mean, obviously go for things that you're uncomfortable with, go for things that push you as a person, but also take the time to really explore the things you love and share with everybody, because you might teach somebody something that they love and they never knew.
I think I probably maybe wouldn't major in social work first. That was a long 2.5 years of no credits that transferred for me.
Didn't you also double major in labor studies?
I did, yes. I was a social work labor studies double major. I really loved labor studies, but that's a whole other story. I also did so many other extracurriculars. I was vice president of SGA, I was in Ubrin Change to Mind, Student Social Work Association, various other clubs and affiliations. And I kind of reached a breaking point with my mental health where I had to choose between, I had to choose what I really wanted to pour my time into, because I realized that I am not an unlimited font of energy. And I chose the Preface, which I'm so glad I did, and I would kind of wish I would have chose it sooner, but ultimately I don't believe in wanting to change the past. I think I am so happy and grateful for where I am right now, and I'm just thankful for everything and everyone that touched my life on the way, whether it felt positive or negative at the time. So, yeah.
I feel like for me, it would be actually working on my procrastination skills. I'll be like, I'm gonna work on that. I'll stop procrastinating, and then I would not work on that and continue procrastinating. But I feel like that definitely affected my work in the Preface, my schoolwork, any career advancements I wanted to do. So I think just going back and be actually putting the effort into procrastinate would be great.
I should have done that too. Me too.
Mine probably would have been mostly social. I wish that I had engaged more on campus. I was in a situation where I was working up to 5 jobs at any given point in my school career. I was always working multiple jobs pretty much the whole time I've been in school, and I've never really had the time to join a club, or I really wanted to be in choir, and that's something I regret all the time, but it always went right over my classes, etc., etc. I really wish that I had gone back and done more on campus that I loved and for fun, instead of for, oh, I have no money and I need money very badly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be working at ABC 57, starting in an internship.
Woo!
And then
That's our editor!
and then potentially moving into producer role, but I'm officially at the stage now where I can say that I'm also working on opening a new climbing gym. So that is something that I'll be working on in the area.
Oh, I can't wait to interview you when that happens.
Yes, please publicize it when I'll reach out. But yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. It's just my first and last name. I'm not on it super often, but you might see my articles on the ABC 57 website, perhaps. But yeah, I'll be around just hanging out, hopefully visiting Preface meetings.
I'm currently in a limbo stage of my life. I'm gonna be applying to vet schools and maybe apply to some master programs if I think I will need those. But mainly just kind of chill out, just kind of get more work hours and save up money. And where to find me? I'm most active on Instagram, which is my first name, my last name, and then BB, the letters BB. And then I haven't done it yet, but I'm hoping to start writing a blog soon, or like make a website, just so I can keep the habit of writing.
After this, I am moving to San Diego, California to go live with my boyfriend and start my life in a beautiful place with people I love, and I'm really excited. I'm going to be keeping my retail job. I'm transferring stores. And then I'm going to be, hopefully, starting an internship with Bad Bunker Books as an in-house book designer. Not totally certain yet. I still have to finish applying, but I'm hopeful. But other than that, you can find me pretty much anywhere. I don't use a whole lot of social media, really. But you can find me anywhere as many variants of Terribly Curious or Curiously Terrible, depending on the site and what was taken. And if you see an account with Curiously Terrible or Terribly Curious and its name is Mimsy, that's me.
Okay.
For sure. What year was it?
I don't know what year
24?
anything happened.
24, I think.
What's the skill you learned?
InDesign. I InDesign so hard now. I InDesign so good.
Oh
God.
I know.
It's tomorrow.
But I do tell people you always have to be annoying. Learn to be annoying and out there.
I mean, if you're not going to be annoying, then are you really a journalist?
If you're not going to be annoying, do you really work for the Preface?
No, it's a requirement.
Exactly. I know, I'm doing the thing. I was finishing pressing a button.
Okay. Well, it was an honor interviewing you guys, all in the interview with a car crash explosion.
None of us
and
cried.
then a memorial. Nobody cried!
None of us cried!
Oh, I can change that.
That's
But nobody cried, and you guys are off doing amazing things, and you're gonna forget all about us, and leave us to rot.
We're gonna stay on the Slack and we're gonna pester you every day.
I own the Slack.
You
So you have to stay on the Slack.
just stay in the Slack. That's no problem.
Y'all can't get rid of me.
But
We also had an ABC order.
yeah, you did.
Oh my god!
Should we hug? I feel like we should hug.
I feel
Yeah.
like we have to hug.
We can hug in a circle, spin in a circle while hugging. I feel like that's
Jump up and down.
Oh my god! That can be the collab then, guys.
Let me take a picture of this. This will be a good thumbnail.
Just so you know, the camera is cutting you guys' heads off. So.